The Millionaire Fastlane. What if I told you that everything you've been taught about wealth is a lie? That the so-called safe and smart plan, go to school, get a job, save for 40 years, invest in mutual funds, and retire at 65, was never designed to make you rich. It was designed to keep you obedient, to keep you dreaming of freedom while you trade your life for paychecks. But deep inside, you already knew that, didn't you? There's a fire inside you, a voice that whispers, there has to be more to life than this. You feel it every Monday morning when your alarm clock goes off and your heart sinks. You feel it when you watch someone live their dream while you're stuck living on autopilot. You feel it every time you hear the words, work hard, be patient, success takes time, and yet your time keeps slipping away. This video is not just a summary, it's a wake-up call, a blueprint, a slap in the face to every system that told you to wait. The Millionaire Fastlane by MJ DeMarco isn't about dreaming, it's about driving. It's about taking control, shifting gears, and speeding down a road most people don't even know exists. And in this journey, you won't just learn how to make money, you'll learn how to take your life back. No more waiting, no more hoping. It's time to challenge everything. It's time to open your eyes. This is not the slow lane. This is not the sidewalk. This is the fast lane. So stay with me till the end, because what you're about to hear may just change the way you see your life, your choices, and your future forever. MJ DeMarco, the man who escaped the slow lane. Have you ever looked at someone living their dream life, driving exotic cars, traveling the world, owning their time, and wondered, how did they do it? Were they just lucky? Born rich? Or did they know something that you don't? Let me tell you the story of a man who cracked the code. A man who went from broke, confused, and stuck to building a business empire that gave him everything: freedom, wealth, time, purpose. His name is MJ DeMarco. And no, he wasn't born with a silver spoon in his mouth. He didn't have a wealthy family, a magic mentor, or some special talent that guaranteed his success. What he had was a burning desire to live life on his terms. MJ's story begins like most of ours. He was just a regular guy with a dream. He didn't want to be a billionaire. He just wanted freedom. The kind of freedom where you don't have to ask for permission to take a vacation. The kind of freedom where you don't have to wait 40 years to enjoy your life. The kind of freedom where you can buy time instead of trading it. But the world told him the same thing it tells you and me. Go to college, get a safe job, climb the ladder, save money slowly, and retire old. MJ followed the script for a while, but deep down he felt something was wrong. This plan didn't lead to freedom, it led to frustration. Every morning was the same. Every job was the same. Every paycheck barely moved the needle. Until one night, everything changed. MJ was walking through a parking lot when he saw a man step out of a Lamborghini. That one moment hit him like lightning. He didn't feel envy. He felt inspiration. He thought, if that guy can do it, why not me? But instead of just dreaming, MJ did something different. He became obsessed. Not with money, but with understanding how value works, how wealth is created, and how people build lives of complete autonomy. He didn't want to wait until 65. He didn't want to rely on luck or lotteries. So he went searching for answers, and after years of trial, error, and painful lessons, he found them. MJ started a small internet business in the early days of the web. Nothing flashy, just something useful. He offered value, solved a problem, and scaled it. He worked insane hours, not because he was chasing hustle culture, but because he was building an asset that could work for him. And slowly, the tables turned. The same man who once delivered pizzas to survive became a millionaire in his 30s. He didn't win a jackpot, he didn't marry into money, he built it. Then he did something most people wouldn't do. He walked away. He sold the business and retired young with complete control over his time, finances, and lifestyle. But MJ wasn't done. He realized something even more powerful. His story could become a roadmap for others. That's when he wrote The Millionaire Fastlane, not as some get-rich-quick scam, but as a brutal, truth-telling guide. He exposed the lies of the slow lane that keep people stuck. He revealed the mindset shifts needed to take the wheel of your life. And he opened up about every struggle he faced, because he wanted you to believe that if he could do it, you could too. MJ DeMarco is not your typical financial guru. He doesn't wear suits on stage or sell dreams wrapped in fancy words. He talks straight. He speaks from pain, from failure, and from freedom. He's the guy who escaped the Matrix, not because he's special, but because he chose to question the script. And that's what makes his voice so powerful. He's not telling you what to do. He's showing you what's possible. This story isn't just about MJ. It's a mirror. It's a question. What do you want to survive or to thrive? To live paycheck to paycheck? Or to design your destiny? Because the man who once envied the guy in the Lamborghini became that guy. Not through luck, but through a different kind of road. A road less traveled, a road they never teach you in school. Are you ready to hear about that road? Then let's talk about the fast lane. What is the fast lane? Imagine life as a giant highway. Most people are stuck in traffic, bumper to bumper, moving inch by inch, year after year, hoping that one day, maybe they'll reach freedom. Some try shortcuts. Others follow the signs everyone else is following. But what if there was another road? A road that's invisible to most. A road without traffic. A road where time bends, money multiplies, and dreams are no longer things you hope for, they're things you build. That road is the fast lane. The fast lane is not a fantasy. It's not about Lamborghinis and mansions, although those things can come. It's about something far more valuable: control. Control of your time, your choices, your lifestyle, your freedom. It's about escaping a life where you're a slave to the clock and entering a life where your money works harder than you ever could. MJ DeMarco calls it the fast lane because it breaks every rule of the traditional roadmap. While the world says, go to school, get a job, save slowly, and retire at 65, the fast lane says, create value, solve a problem, scale it massively, and live free while you're still young enough to enjoy it. But let's be clear, the fast lane isn't easy. It's not a lottery ticket. It's not about becoming a crypto millionaire overnight or dropping shipping your way to riches while you sleep. That's not freedom. That's delusion. The fast lane is a mindset shift, a strategy, a process, a way of thinking that turns your life from reactive to proactive. You stop trading time for money and start trading value for wealth. In the fast lane, you stop thinking like a consumer and start thinking like a producer. While most people spend money, fast laners create the things people spend money on. While most work for a boss, fast laners build systems that pay them 24/7. While most look at weekends as the only escape, fast laners design lives they don't need to escape from. And here's the most emotional part. You already know this truth deep down. You've felt it for years. That frustration, that restlessness, that hunger for more. You've seen people much less talented than you win in life, not because they're better, but because they played a different game. The fast lane gives you the rules to that game. The traditional road wants you to sacrifice your best years for a paycheck. But what if, instead of wasting your 20s, 30s, and 40s saving nickels and dimes, you used that time to build an asset? Something that earns for you even when you're sleeping, walking, or on a beach somewhere with people you love. That's the fast lane dream, not to work less, but to work right. Not to retire at 65, but to be free at 35. It's about leveraging the internet, business models, automation, and scale. Not to get rich quick, but to get rich smart. Think of someone who created a mobile app that millions use daily. Or someone who built an online course that helps thousands. Or someone who started a YouTube channel, an e-commerce brand, a software solution, a service business that grew fast because it solved a real need. That's fast lane thinking. They're not stuck hoping for a raise. They gave themselves one. And here's the most inspiring truth. The fast lane doesn't require you to be a genius. You don't need a perfect idea or a million followers. What you need is awareness, discipline, courage, and a willingness to unlearn everything society taught you about success. The fast lane isn't a secret anymore. MJ DeMarco ripped the cover off it in his book, and what he revealed changed lives. But the choice is still yours. Most people will hear this and do nothing. They'll nod, smile, and go back to their 9-to-5 lives. But a few, just a few, will say, enough. Enough waiting. Enough hoping. Enough being told what to do, when to do it, and how much you're worth. If you're one of those people, then understand this. The fast lane is open. It's always been there. It's not easy. It demands sacrifice. It demands vision. But in return, it offers you the one thing no job or savings plan ever will: freedom. So now that you understand what the fast lane really is, let's talk about the map that leads there. Because life gives you 3 roads, and only one of them will take you where you truly want to go. Ready to see which one you're on? Let's break them down. The 3 financial roads: sidewalk, slow lane, and fast lane. Have you ever stopped to ask yourself, what road am I really on? Not your daily commute, not your career path, but the actual road your life is taking when it comes to money, freedom, and the future you're building. Because here's the truth. Every person on this planet is traveling one of 3 roads. And each of these roads doesn't just shape your lifestyle, it shapes your destiny. MJ DeMarco breaks it down clearly in the Millionaire Fastlane. He says there are 3 financial paths we all walk: the sidewalk, the slow lane, and the fast lane. Each one looks different. Each one feels different, and only one will lead you to the life you've always dreamed of. But here's the catch. Most people are stuck on the wrong road and don't even know it. Let's start with the sidewalk. This is where most people begin, and sadly, where many stay forever. Sidewalkers live for the moment. They don't think long term. Money comes in and money goes out. If they earn more, they spend more. If they get a bonus, it becomes a shopping spree. There's no financial discipline, no savings, no investment, and certainly no plan. It's a life ruled by impulse, instant gratification, and the illusion that tomorrow will take care of itself. You might think of the sidewalk as poverty, but it's not just about how much you earn, it's how you think. Some sidewalkers drive BMWs and wear luxury brands, but they're drowning in debt. Others might look humble, but behind the scenes, they're one paycheck away from disaster. It's not their job title that defines them, it's their mindset. And the saddest part? The sidewalk is the most dangerous road because it feels fun until it's not. One emergency, one job loss, one crisis, and everything crumbles. Then comes the slow lane. This is the path society calls smart. It's the road paved with degrees, jobs, promotions, savings accounts, and compound interest calculators. Slow lane travelers are responsible, educated, and cautious. They follow the rules. They delay gratification. They budget. They invest in index funds. They believe that if they just keep grinding for 40 years, one day they'll retire comfortably and finally enjoy life. Sounds safe, right? But here's where the emotional truth hits. The slow lane is a beautifully wrapped trap. It offers just enough hope to keep you from quitting, but never enough freedom to truly live. You wake up to alarms, fight traffic, follow orders, live for weekends, and celebrate tiny raises like they're life-changing, all while the clock ticks and your best years slip by. You save and save, but inflation eats away at your dreams. You wait decades for a life you may never fully enjoy. What no one tells you is that the slow lane makes you rich on paper, but poor in time. And in the end, time is the most precious currency of all. You can always make more money, but you can't make more life. And that brings us to the fast lane. The road of creators, thinkers, risk-takers, and builders. It's not about shortcuts. It's not about greed. It's about leverage, scale, and speed. The fast lane says, don't wait 40 years to be free. Build systems today that buy your freedom tomorrow. It's the path where you stop working for money and start building something that works for you. Fastlaners don't just chase paychecks. They chase impact. They create businesses, products, platforms, services. They use the internet, technology, and their own skills to build something scalable. They don't settle for small returns. They think big. And because they take calculated risks, they also open the door to massive rewards. Not just financially, but emotionally, spiritually, and personally. Here's the most beautiful part. The fast lane isn't reserved for geniuses, celebrities, or tech prodigies. It's open to anyone, including you. But to step on it, you have to unlearn what society taught you. You have to reject the myths of safety and comfort. You have to believe that your dreams aren't crazy, they're calling. So ask yourself honestly, which road are you on? Are you living like a sidewalker, hoping things magically get better while spending every rupee that comes your way? Are you grinding in the slow lane, following the rules, saving slowly, and trusting that time will reward you someday? Or are you ready to take the wheel, change lanes, and step into the fast lane where you control your journey? Each road leads to a different future. And once you know the truth, you can't unsee it. The next step is understanding why the slow lane, the one everyone praises, is actually the most dangerous trap of all. And that's what we'll explore next. Stay with me because it's about to get real. Why the slow lane is a trap and the fast lane is the way out. Let me ask you a painful but honest question. What if everything you were told about success was never meant to make you free, but to keep you obedient? What if the slow lane, the path you were told is safe, reliable, and smart, is actually a trap dressed up as security? A path where your dreams are postponed until your body is old, your energy is gone, and your time is running out. The slow lane is what most people are taught from the moment they can walk. Go to school, get good grades, get a degree, find a job, work hard, save 10%, invest in a retirement account. Live below your means. Be patient. Just maybe, at the age of 65, you can finally breathe. Finally live. Finally enjoy life. That's the promise, right? But here's the truth no one tells you. The slow lane doesn't guarantee anything. It's a gamble with your most precious resource, time. You trade your youth for a paycheck, your dreams for deadlines, your days for someone else's goals. And all along, they keep you hopeful with little rewards. A raise here, a promotion there, a weekend trip, a company bonus. Just enough to keep you going, but never enough to set you free. The trap lies in the illusion, because the slow lane feels responsible. It looks smart. It's the path everyone respects. You appear successful on the outside, but on the inside, you're slowly dying from the repetition, the limitation, the boredom. You stare at your life and wonder, is this really it? Is this what I worked so hard for? You might be earning decent money, but if you have to keep waking up to an alarm, if your time isn't yours, if your income stops the moment you stop working, then you're not free. You're just surviving. You're just another gear in a machine designed to keep moving, no matter how tired you get. And the biggest tragedy? You think you're playing it safe, but the longer you stay in the slow lane, the higher the risk becomes. Jobs disappear, inflation rises, the cost of living goes up, health declines, life throws punches, and suddenly that safe plan collapses. Decades of sacrifice vanish in an instant. That's the cruel reality of the slow lane. Now let's contrast that with the fast lane, not the fantasy of fast money, but the real fast lane. The fast lane is not a scheme. It's not some hustle gimmick. It's a different way of living. It says, stop waiting, stop hoping, start building. Instead of relying on a job, the fast lane teaches you to create assets, things that can earn for you without needing your time every second. In the fast lane, you create businesses, systems, products, platforms. You solve problems at scale. You provide value, and in return, the world pays you, again and again, even when you're not physically present. The fast lane separates time from income, and when you do that, you break free from the one thing that enslaves most people, the clock. It's not about working less, it's about working differently, working smart, building something once that can serve thousands or millions. Whether it's a software, a book, a YouTube channel, an online course, a service-based system, it's something that grows beyond you. Fast laners may work harder up front, but they work with purpose. They hustle not just to make money, but to buy freedom. They don't wait for 65 to enjoy life. They live now while their businesses work in the background. They design lives that align with their passions, not their paychecks. And here's the part that should move you the most. The fast lane is real. People are doing it. People just like you. No trust funds, no Ivy League degrees, just courage, discipline, and the refusal to accept a life of mediocrity. The fast lane requires risk, yes. It requires growth, discomfort, and sacrifice. But it gives you the one thing the slow lane never can: control. Control over your time, your money, your lifestyle, your decisions, your life. So now ask yourself, why are you still trusting a system designed to keep you waiting? Why keep walking a path that leads to a cage when there's another road wide open? The slow lane is a trap not because it's impossible, it's because it costs too much time, and time is the one thing you can never get back. The fast lane? It's not easy, but it's worth it. It's the path of creators, of rebels, of thinkers who say, I want more than just existence, I want to truly live. So what will you choose? A life of waiting, or a life of building? The next step to understanding that choice is looking even deeper, at the most dangerous mindset of all, the sidewalk. The mentality of living for today, spending like there's no tomorrow, and hoping luck will save you. That's what we'll uncover next. Stay with me. This journey is just getting started. The sidewalk mentality, living for today. Imagine walking through life without a map. You're moving, but you don't know where you're going. You wake up, go to work, spend money, maybe party a little on the weekends, and then do it all over again. You're not thinking about next year, next month, or even next week. You're just focused on today. What feels good, what looks good, what makes you forget that deep down you feel lost. That's the sidewalk mentality. And it's a trap that quietly destroys dreams. The sidewalk isn't about how much money you have, it's about how you think about money. You can earn 10,000 or 100,000 a month and still be a sidewalker. Because no matter how much comes in, it all goes out. There's no plan, no discipline, no vision. You live for the moment, for comfort, for appearance, for survival. And you don't even realize that your future is being written by your lack of decisions. Sidewalkers are addicted to pleasure, not progress. They say things like, "You only live once," or "I'll figure it out later." They chase validation through things: clothes, phones, cars, social media likes. They see money as something to spend, not something to build. They think success is luck, and wealth is for those people, not for them. So they give up before they even try. But the most heartbreaking part? Many people stuck in the sidewalk life don't know they're trapped. Because it feels fun. It feels alive. You're constantly moving, constantly consuming, constantly distracted. But behind the fun, there's a storm. A constant sense of anxiety, that feeling when the rent is due, when an emergency hits, when you realize you have nothing saved and no backup plan. That quiet panic that lives under the surface of every purchase, every swipe, every, "It's okay, I'll figure it out." MJ DeMarco doesn't shame the sidewalk mindset. He exposes it, because he was there once too. Driving around in a used car, living paycheck to paycheck, dreaming big, but acting small. And that's where many people are today, not because they're lazy, but because the world feeds the sidewalk life. Society tells you to spend more, show off more, prove yourself through things, not through growth. Advertisements scream, "Buy this, you deserve it." Banks say, "Take this loan, you've earned it." And before you know it, you're living in a house of debt with no way out. The sidewalk looks different for everyone. For some, it's working hard all week, then blowing their earnings on the weekend to feel alive. For others, it's constantly upgrading their phone or wardrobe to match what influencers wear. For some, it's ignoring health, finances, relationships, because they'd rather escape reality than face it. But the result is always the same: chaos, confusion, and a future that slips further away every day. And here's what hurts the most. Many sidewalkers have dreams. They talk about starting a business, writing a book, creating something, but they never act. They say someday, but someday never comes, because their energy is drained by surviving. Their confidence is crushed by fear. Their habits are shaped by comfort, not courage. You might be thinking, but isn't it okay to enjoy life? Yes, but there's a difference between enjoying life and escaping it. The sidewalk mentality isn't about joy, it's about avoidance. It keeps you stuck in a loop of pleasure that costs you peace. It gives you comfort that costs you control. The moment you stop thinking about tomorrow, you surrender your power. And when you give up your power, you give up your future. But here's the hope. You can get off the sidewalk, right now. You don't have to stay there. You can take back control. You can stop living for the next dopamine hit and start building a life that gives you freedom, not just excitement. It doesn't happen overnight, but it begins with a choice. A choice to save when everyone else spends. A choice to learn when everyone else scrolls. A choice to invest in your future, not your next outfit. A choice to build something meaningful, even when no one is watching. The sidewalk may be crowded, but the exit is open. It's not easy, but it's worth it. Because nothing hurts more than reaching your 50s or 60s and realizing you had the power all along, but you gave it up for temporary comfort. The sidewalk is not your final destination. It's just a starting point. What matters is what you do next. So if you're ready to leave the crowd behind and start thinking like a true builder of wealth, then the next step is critical. We're about to explore the mindset that separates dreamers from doers. The way millionaires think, not just about money, but about life. The Fastlane mindset. Stay with me, because this is where the shift begins. Fastlane mindset. Think like a millionaire. Have you ever wondered what truly separates millionaires from the rest of the world? It's not just money. It's not a magic business idea or a lucky break. It's how they think. The truth is, most people stay stuck in a cycle of stress and struggle not because they lack talent or opportunity, but because they're trapped in the wrong mindset. The Fastlane mindset is the unlock. And once you truly understand it, nothing in your life will stay the same. Let's begin with a painful realization. You've been lied to. Not maliciously, but consistently. Since childhood, you were told to play it safe, follow the rules, get a job, work hard, be patient. One day, success will come. But as you grew older, you started to feel it. Something doesn't add up. If hard work alone created wealth, why are some of the hardest working people in the world still struggling to make ends meet? Why do those who play by the rules often end up tired, broke, and full of regret? That's where the Fastlane mindset enters. It doesn't just challenge what you've been taught, it destroys it. A Fastlane thinker doesn't see life as a linear path of effort equals reward. They understand that wealth isn't about working more hours, it's about creating more impact. The average person says, I need to earn more. The Fastlaner asks, how can I create something that earns for me? That one shift in thinking transforms everything. Fastlaners understand something powerful. Time is the most valuable currency you have. Money lost can be regained. Time lost, gone forever. And if you're trading your time for money, no matter how high the hourly rate, you're on a treadmill. You're running hard, but going nowhere. The Fastlane mindset is about getting off that treadmill and building something that runs even when you don't. But this mindset isn't just about business. It's a way of seeing the world. It's refusing to accept average. It's understanding that every limitation you've accepted, whether it's about your background, your education, your age, your circumstances, is a wall you chose to believe in. Fastlaners don't avoid fear, they walk through it. They don't wait for perfect timing, they create their moment. They're not just dreamers, they're doers. A true Fastlaner knows the difference between spending and investing. While others spend their free time binging shows or scrolling endlessly, Fastlaners read, learn, build, test, grow. They don't sacrifice joy, but they replace distraction with direction, because they know where they're going, and that makes all the difference. Here's something else they understand. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's the price of success. The average person sees failure as proof they should stop. A Fastlaner sees failure as feedback. It's not personal. It's part of the process. Every setback becomes a setup for the next level. They fail fast, learn faster, and rise higher. Fastlane thinking is also rooted in ownership. Ownership of time, ownership of effort, ownership of mistakes, of learning, of the journey. While sidewalkers blame the economy or their boss, and slow-lane thinkers put their future in someone else's hands, Fastlaners take full responsibility. They don't rely on luck. They build leverage. They don't pray for opportunities, they prepare for them. And when the moment comes, they act. But perhaps the most emotional part of the Fastlane mindset is this. It's not about money for the sake of money. It's about freedom. About waking up every day and choosing what you want to do. About spending time with the people you love, doing work that matters, and living life on your own terms. Because what's the point of wealth if you're too exhausted, too old, or too broken to enjoy it? Fastlaners know that life is short, and that waiting decades to live fully is the biggest lie of all. So they build now, they hustle now, they take risks now. Because the reward isn't just financial, it's personal, it's spiritual, it's emotional. And you don't need 1 million followers, a perfect business plan, or some overnight miracle to think like a Fastlaner. You just need one thing, a decision. A decision that you're no longer going to live in fear, that you won't settle for average, that you'll start seeing life as a series of choices, not circumstances, that you'll build instead of wait, that you'll own your time instead of renting it. So take a moment right now and ask yourself, am I thinking like a Fastlaner? Or am I still stuck in old beliefs, waiting for life to change on its own? Because the world won't give you freedom. You have to create it. And it all starts in the mind. Now that you know how a Fastlaner thinks, it's time to understand how they build. The next step is the foundation of that freedom, the wealth equation of the Fastlane, the formula that turns mindset into movement, and effort into lasting, scalable wealth. Stay with me. This is where the real engine begins. Wealth equation of the fast lane. What if I told you that wealth isn't just about luck or hard work? It's a formula, a living, breathing equation that determines how fast you can escape the grind and step into a life of freedom. It's not magic. It's not guesswork. It's mathematics. And once you understand this equation, the wealth equation of the fast lane, you'll realize that true wealth has never been out of reach. You just didn't know the formula. Most people are stuck in the world's slowest math problem. They think if they earn a decent salary, save 10%, and invest it in the stock market, one day, maybe decades from now, they'll be rich. This is what MJ DeMarco calls the slow lane equation. Wealth equals job plus time plus frugality. You trade hours for money. You cut back. You clip coupons. You wait. You hope the market does its job. And you believe that someday your patience will be rewarded. But here's the raw truth. This equation is built on scarcity. It assumes your time is your only asset. That wealth comes from saying no to everything today so you can say maybe to something in the far future. It's a formula for surviving, not thriving. Now let's flip the page and step into the fast lane. Because fast laners use a very different formula. Wealth equals net profit plus asset value, scale plus time. This isn't just math. This is power. And every part of this formula can be leveraged. Let's break it down. First, net profit. This is the income your business or system brings in after expenses. But unlike a salary, net profit doesn't require you to show up 9 to 5. It comes from solving a problem, delivering value, and charging for it. It comes from building something people want, again and again. It could be a product, a service, a platform. The key is that it earns even when you rest. Second, asset value. A fast laner doesn't just earn money, they build assets. Assets are things that grow in value. A YouTube channel, an app, a brand, an online course, a tech platform, a piece of real estate, something that increases in worth and can eventually be sold, licensed, or passed down. The longer it lives, the more valuable it becomes. That's real leverage. Third, scale. This is the engine of the equation. Fast laners don't think small. They don't serve 10 people, they serve 10,000. They don't solve problems in one neighborhood. They solve them worldwide. They use the internet, systems, automation, and platforms to reach more people with less effort. Because once you've created value, distribution is the key to multiplying it. And finally, time. Here's where it all comes together. In the slow lane, time is your enemy. You give it away just to survive. In the fast lane, time is your partner. You build something once, and it keeps working for you day after day, week after week, year after year. Time no longer drains you, it repays you. So let's take a simple example. Imagine you write a digital book that helps people solve a problem. It takes you 1 month to write. You sell it for $10. Now imagine you build a system, a website, a funnel, maybe even use social media that allows 1,000 people a month to find and buy it. That's $10,000 a month from something you made once. That's not trading time for money. That's creating value that scales. Now apply this thinking to everything. A business that runs on systems, a course that sells itself, an app that people download around the clock, a brand that grows with word of mouth and community. These are not dreams. These are the results of applying the fast lane equation. But it's not just about the numbers. There's an emotional side to this. Because when you start living this way, everything changes. You stop feeling trapped. You stop fearing Mondays. You stop depending on a boss, a paycheck, a company to decide your worth. You take ownership. You build confidence. You regain hope. This formula is the difference between existing and living, between working to survive and building to thrive. And once you internalize it, the world looks different. Problems become opportunities. Time becomes your ally. Effort becomes exponential. So ask yourself this. What are you building? What are you creating that will serve others, scale massively, and free you from the grind? You don't need to be a genius. You need courage, vision, grit, and belief in something bigger than just survival. The fast lane isn't for those who wait. It's for those who act, who decide that life is too precious to waste in traffic, cubicles, or cycles of stress. It's for those who understand that wealth isn't found, it's built, intentionally, logically, boldly. Now that you know the formula, it's time to learn the rules. the commandments that guide every Fastlaner on their journey. And it all begins with the first, and perhaps most important law, the commandment of control. Because if you don't own it, you don't control it. Commandment of control. Own it or be owned. Let me take you to a moment we've all felt at some point. You're sitting at your desk. Your phone buzzes. You check your bank balance and it's lower than you expected. You sigh, look up, and realize something painful. You're not in control. Your time isn't yours. Your income isn't yours. Your freedom feels like a distant dream. You feel stuck. You're doing everything right, but still feel like someone else is steering your life. That moment, that ache, that's the exact reason MJ DeMarco introduced one of the most important laws of the fast lane, the commandment of control. This commandment is brutally simple. If you don't control it, you don't own it. And if you don't own it, you don't control your future. The world is full of people who think they're building something real, something strong, something lasting. But behind the scenes, their foundation is made of sand. Why? Because they've placed their future in someone else's hands. And when the storm hits, they have no power to protect what they've built. Let's say you start a business on Instagram, and all your customers come from there. You're excited, money is flowing, your followers are growing. Then one day, boom, your account is hacked, banned, or the algorithm changes. Overnight, everything disappears. Why? Because you didn't control it. Instagram did. Or imagine you launch a YouTube channel. You grow fast, your videos go viral, but every video depends on YouTube's mood. One wrong move, one policy change, one shadow ban, and your income vanishes. Again, because you didn't own the platform, you were just renting space. This is the trap most people fall into. They build dreams on borrowed land. They grow brands on someone else's platform. They rely on bosses, companies, marketplaces, or governments for security. But control that's given to you can also be taken from you. That's not freedom, that's vulnerability. Fastlaners don't play that game. They know that true freedom only comes from ownership. You must control your source of income. You must control the customer experience. You must control the marketing, the messaging, the decisions. Because when you control, you can steer, you can shift, you can survive storms and grow stronger. This doesn't mean you avoid platforms like Instagram, YouTube, or Amazon. It means you use them as tools, not foundations. You build an email list that you own. You develop a product with your branding. You host your own website, control your own payment systems, manage your own communication. The goal is to move from dependency to dominion. Think of it this way. Would you build your dream house on land you don't own? Would you spend years designing your future only to hand the keys to someone else? That's what millions do every day without realizing it. They live and work inside systems where they have zero control. And when the system changes, they're helpless. Fastlane thinking demands more. It asks you to rise, to take full responsibility for your path. Because yes, it's harder. Yes, it requires learning. It takes risk, time, and effort. But the reward is beyond just money. It's power. It's the ability to say, this is mine. I built this. I decide what happens next. And the most emotional truth? Control is what gives you peace. When you own what you build, fear disappears. You're not at the mercy of layoffs, algorithms, or sudden rule changes. You're not afraid to wake up one day and lose it all. Because you're not just part of the machine, you're the engineer of your own life. So let me ask you, who owns your dream right now? Who's holding the strings to your freedom? Is it your boss, a platform, a client, a system? Because if it's not you, then it's time to shift. Own your business, own your platform, own your process. Because ownership is control, and control is power. The power to protect your income, the power to scale, the power to pivot, the power to live on your terms. And that's what the fast lane is all about. Living by choice, not by chance. Now that you've embraced this mindset of control, there's another trap waiting that most people never see coming. It's the reason why so few even try to enter the fast lane. It's called the commandment of entry. And it's the gatekeeper of wealth. Let's uncover it next. Commandment of entry. The illusion of easy money. Imagine standing in front of two doors. The first one is wide open. Bright lights, shiny promises. A sign above it says easy money, quick results, just follow the trend. The second door? It's narrow, unmarked, quiet, almost invisible. no crowd, no shortcut. But behind it is freedom. Most people understandably rush to the first door. Why? Because it's easy, it's comfortable, it's popular. But what they don't realize is, behind that door is a cage, a trap disguised as a shortcut. And that trap is exactly what MJ DeMarco warns us about in the commandment of entry. This commandment is simple but deeply powerful. If anyone can do it, it probably won't lead to wealth. Let that sink in. We live in a world obsessed with trends. Everyone is rushing to dropship, to post motivational reels, to flip affiliate links, to trade crypto coins they don't understand. It feels like action. It feels like business. But what it actually is noise. A rush of people entering an opportunity that's wide open, but with such low barriers, everyone is already doing it. And when everyone can do something easily, it loses its value. That's the brutal truth. High-entry businesses might look intimidating, but they protect you. They filter out the lazy. They create a barrier between the pretenders and the builders, and that barrier becomes leverage. Here's the emotional trap. People are scared. Scared to fail. Scared to learn new things. Scared to start something that actually takes time and effort. So they look for low-entry opportunities, thinking they'll avoid pain. But in doing that, they walk straight into a crowd where they become invisible. Let's take an example. Selling t-shirts on a print-on-demand website. Almost anyone can sign up, upload a design, and start a store. That's why millions do. But how many succeed? Almost none. Why? Because the barrier to entry is so low. There's no protection from saturation, no moat, no uniqueness, no control, and no wealth. Now think about building a mobile app that solves a real problem, requires coding, marketing, testing, and real customer interaction. Fewer people try. Fewer people push through. But those who do, they own that space. They create wealth, not from the ease of the journey, but from the depth of their effort. Fastlane entrepreneurs look for high-barrier opportunities, not because they want to suffer, but because they know that in difficulty lies exclusivity, and in exclusivity lies value. It's not about how fast you can enter, it's about how long you can stay. Real wealth is built by mastering something that takes work, skill, and courage. Not something that thousands of people are doing from their phones during lunch breaks. But don't misunderstand. This isn't about making life hard for the sake of it. It's about building something real, something defendable, something rare. Because in rarity, value is born, and in value, wealth flows. The commandment of entry also teaches us to ask hard questions. What makes my product or service difficult to copy? What skills am I developing that separate me from the crowd? Am I building something that anyone can start, or something that takes mastery to finish? When you avoid low-entry opportunities, you stop playing in the sandbox and start building the castle. You stop competing for scraps and start creating abundance. You become the brand people admire, the innovator people follow, the creator people remember. And this isn't just about business. It's about identity. Who are you becoming in the process? A follower or a founder? Someone chasing crumbs or someone baking the bread? This commandment might feel tough at first because it means you'll walk a path fewer dare to take. But that's what makes it worth it. While others play in crowded markets, chasing pennies and trends, you'll be quietly building an empire, one brick, one skill, one bold step at a time. So now ask yourself, is what I'm building easily entered? If yes, then chances are it's not worth staying in. Take the harder road, learn the deeper skill, solve the bigger problem. That's where the fast lane really begins. And speaking of problems, that leads us straight into the next game-changing truth. The commandment of need. Because no matter how amazing your idea sounds to you, if it doesn't solve someone else's problem, it doesn't matter. Let's dig into that next. Commandment of need. Solve problems, not just chase passion. Let's begin with a question that might sting a little. If your business, your idea, your product disappeared tomorrow, would anyone even notice? Would it leave a gap in someone's life? Or would the world simply move on, unaffected? It's a painful question, but it's the foundation of one of the most emotional yet brutally honest fastlane truths. The commandment of need. We live in a world that constantly tells us, follow your passion, do what you love, the money will follow. And while that advice sounds beautiful, in most cases, it's a lie wrapped in inspiration. Because passion alone doesn't pay the bills. Passion alone doesn't build wealth. Passion alone doesn't change lives. Need does. MJ DeMarco challenges the popular narrative and replaces it with something deeper. Don't chase passion, chase problems. Because wealth flows where needs are met. You see, the world doesn't pay you because you love doing something. It pays you because you solve a real problem that makes someone's life easier, better, faster, healthier, or more joyful. And if your passion solves a problem, beautiful. But if it doesn't, it's a hobby, not a fast lane. Let's take an example. You might love painting abstract art. It's your passion. It brings you joy. But unless your art solves a specific emotional or functional need in someone else's life, there's no guarantee it'll create wealth. Now flip that. You may not feel passionate about building a mobile app that helps freelancers track payments, but if it solves a real frustration for thousands of people, it becomes a gateway to freedom. This is where the commandment of need becomes deeply emotional. Because we're all told to follow our hearts, but no one teaches us how to connect our hearts to humanity's needs. That connection is where the magic happens. And here's the most empowering part. You don't need to invent something revolutionary to meet a need. You don't have to be the next Steve Jobs or Elon Musk. You just need to listen. Pay attention. People complain about problems. Every day, people search for answers. Every day, someone wishes for a better, simpler, faster way to do something. Fastlane thinkers train themselves to hear that cry. They tune into what frustrates people, what slows them down, what confuses them, what hurts them. Then, they build a bridge. They create a solution. They fill a gap that no one else is addressing with enough clarity or care. This mindset flips everything. It turns business from selfish to selfless. You stop asking, what can I get from the world? And start asking, what can I give to the world that it desperately needs? And when you give value, true, meaningful, heartfelt value, the world gives back. In attention, in money, in loyalty, in abundance. Let's be honest, this takes humility. It takes empathy. It means admitting that the world doesn't revolve around your dream until your dream revolves around the world's needs. That's how you turn an idea into a movement, a side project into a scalable business, a thought into a legacy. And this is where many people fall short. They build something because it excites them, but they never stop to ask, does this matter to anyone else? As a result, their business flatlines. Their product doesn't sell. Their confidence shatters. Not because they weren't talented, but because they ignored the need. So how do you find real needs? Look around, scroll the comments, read the reviews of bad products, join communities, ask people what frustrates them every single day, and then solve it. Not with fluff, not with dreams, with real, functional, tested, refined solutions that make people's lives better. That's the fast lane. You are not just a creator, you are a problem solver. You are not just in business, you are in service. And the more people you serve, the deeper the problem you solve, the greater the wealth that flows to you, naturally, honorably, and exponentially. So take a look at what you're building right now. Ask yourself, what need does this serve? What pain does this relieve? What frustration does this fix? Because if you find a real need and meet it powerfully, you will never need to beg for success. Success will chase you. And once you've identified the need, there's another layer to unlock: time. Because how you relate to time determines whether you stay free or stay trapped, no matter how much you earn. Let's step into the commandment of time, where you'll learn to stop selling hours and start owning your life. Commandment of time: stop renting your life. Close your eyes for a moment. Picture yourself at 80 years old, sitting in a quiet room, staring out the window at a life that passed like a blur. You worked hard. You played by the rules. You did everything right. But now, as the clock ticks slower, a whisper runs through your mind. Where did all that time go? That whisper, that ache, that slow-burning regret, is what the commandment of time is here to prevent. Because in the end, it's not about how much money you made. It's about how much life you actually lived. Most people don't realize it, but they're not trading effort for income. They're trading time for survival. They've been taught that the only way to earn is to work. The longer you work, the more you earn. The harder you work, the more you deserve. But this equation is a lie that keeps millions trapped in a cycle of exhaustion and emptiness. MJ DeMarco shatters that lie with one brutal truth. If your income is tied directly to your time, you are not free. Think about it. Doctors, lawyers, freelancers, coaches, even though they earn more per hour than most people, they still follow a dangerous equation. No work equals no pay. They may be rich in cash, but poor in time. And time, once gone, never comes back. The Fastlane mindset flips this entire model. It asks, why sell your time when you can own your time? Why trade hours when you can build systems? Why work endlessly when you can create once and earn forever? That's the power of the commandment of time. Fastlaners don't just chase money, they chase freedom. And that freedom is built on decoupling income from effort. It means creating products, businesses, or platforms that make money while you sleep, while you travel, while you rest, while you spend time with your family. Not because you're lazy, but because you're aware of how precious time really is. Time is the one currency that billionaires and beggars have in equal measure, until they spend it. And once it's spent, you can never earn it back. That's why Fastlaners guard their time like treasure. They invested in building machines, not just in doing tasks. Let's take an example. Imagine someone who bakes cakes and sells them in a shop. Every day they wake up early, bake, serve customers. The income is steady, but it requires constant time. Now compare that to someone who creates a video course on cake decorating. They film it once, upload it once, and sell it thousands of times, even while sleeping. That's not just a different business model, it's a different life. The first person is renting their life day by day. The second is owning their life minute by minute. This doesn't mean you never work again. Fastlaners work, but their work builds assets, not just income. They use their time to create systems, not just complete tasks. They focus on what lasts, not what just pays. And here's the most emotional part. When your time is yours, your soul begins to breathe. You wake up without dread. You spend your day with purpose. You look at your children, your partner, your passions, and you actually have time for them. You stop counting weekends. You stop waiting for vacations. Because your life becomes the vacation. Your work becomes your legacy. Your schedule becomes yours to write. But this kind of freedom demands awareness. You must become aware of how much of your time you're selling away, how much of your energy is being drained by things that keep you trapped in a cycle of dependency. You must ask yourself, am I building something that earns when I'm not there? Does my income depend on my constant presence? If I disappeared for a week, would my business still survive or collapse? If the answer is no, you're still on the treadmill. And treadmills don't lead anywhere, no matter how fast you run. But the good news? You can step off. You can start today. You can begin building something that runs without you, something that multiplies your time instead of consuming it. That's the path to the fast lane. Not just money, but time freedom. Because what's the point of building wealth if you're too exhausted to enjoy it? And here's where it all comes together. Time freedom is only possible when you embrace the next commandment: scale. Because once you learn how to multiply your impact, you multiply your income without multiplying your effort. Let's now unlock the final engine of exponential success, the commandment of scale. Commandment of scale. Multiply your impact, multiply your freedom. Let me ask you something personal. If you helped one person today, just one, you'd feel pretty good, right? Now imagine helping 10 people, 100, 1,000. Now imagine helping 1 million. Not just with a single post or an idea, but with a real solution that solves their real problem. That's not just impact, that's legacy. That's not just business, that's scale. Welcome to the commandment of scale, the heartbeat of the fast lane. Most people in the world work one-to-one. 1 hour of work for 1 hour of pay, one product for one customer, one effort for one result. That's how the system teaches us to think. But fastlaners, they don't think one-to-one. They think one-to-many. They don't ask, how can I work harder? They ask, how can I reach more people with less time and more impact? That's scale. The commandment of scale is all about leverage, expanding your reach without expanding your exhaustion. It's about building something once that can be sold, delivered, or experienced thousands, even millions of times. Think about YouTube. You make one great video, and it can reach 10 people or 10 million. You don't need to recreate it every time. That's scale. Think about a mobile app. You code it once, upload it once, and it gets downloaded in every country around the world 24/7. That's scale. Think about Amazon. You write one book, upload it once, and every day someone you've never met is buying it, reading it, and being changed by it. That's scale. Now compare that to someone selling sandwiches on a street corner. They can only sell as much as they can physically make, pack, and hand out. It's honest work, but it's limited by time, energy, and location. Fastlaners build things that break the limits. The emotional power behind this is huge, because scale is what allows you to create freedom, not just for yourself, but for others too. When your product or platform helps thousands of people, your income multiplies, but so does your influence. You're not just running a business anymore. You're changing lives at volume. But here's the truth most won't tell you. Scale isn't always easy at first. It takes vision, systems, automation. It takes letting go of control and building things that live beyond your hands. You move from being a worker to being an architect. You don't just serve customers, you create machines, processes, and platforms that serve them on your behalf. Let's take an example. Imagine you're a talented graphic designer. You get clients, you earn well, but each job is one client at a time. You're stuck trading time for money. But what if you created a design course, or a set of templates, or a design tool? Suddenly, you're not selling yourself, you're selling a product. And that product can reach thousands, even while you sleep. This is the difference between being the candle and building the sun. One burns out, the other lights up the world. Scale also protects your time, because the more people you serve without being present, the more time you regain for the things that truly matter: your family, your health, your peace. Scale gives you the ability to live life fully while your business grows. And here's the secret most never realize. The internet is your rocket fuel. We live in a time where one person, yes, one, can build something that touches millions. With a phone, a laptop, and a message, you can scale farther, faster, and wider than entire corporations could 50 years ago. But most people never use that power. They get stuck doing what's familiar, what's comfortable, what's safe. And as a result, they stay small, not because they lack potential, but because they lack vision. So now is the time to dream bigger, to stop asking, how do I make a living, and start asking, how do I make a difference at scale? Because that's where the fast lane explodes into something unstoppable. And don't think scale is only for tech geniuses or social media stars. Anyone can scale if they build the right systems. It could be a course, an app, a membership, a service, a product, a community. What matters is, can it serve more people without draining more of you? And here's one last emotional truth. Scale isn't about ego, it's about impact. The more people you serve, the more lives you touch, the more freedom you create. Not just for you, but for every soul your work reaches. So don't be afraid to go big. Build for the many, not just the few. Think one to many. Think exponential. Think fast lane. Because once you've embraced all 5 commandments, control, entry, need, time, and scale, you're no longer just thinking like an entrepreneur, you're becoming a fast lane creator. And now that you've mastered the mindset, the model, and the commandments, it's time to put it all together. In the next segment, we'll dive into the real question every dreamer must face: how to create a business in the fast lane. This is where your journey truly begins. How to create a business in the fast lane. Build freedom, not just income. Take a deep breath and ask yourself this: what if you never had to work a job you hate again? What if money was no longer the reason you got out of bed, and instead, your day was filled with passion, purpose, and peace? Sounds like a dream, right? But it's not, if you know how to create a business in the fast lane. We're not talking about some overnight success scheme or copying whatever trend is hot this month. We're talking about building something real. A business that aligns with the fast lane commandments: control, entry, need, time, and scale. A business that doesn't just make money, but one that buys your freedom. But before you can build it, you need to change how you see business. Most people think business is about passion, or money, or chasing customers. But in the fast lane, business is something far deeper. It's about solving a meaningful problem in a way no one else is doing and delivering that solution at scale, while maintaining ownership, protecting your time, and building unstoppable momentum. So where do you begin? You start with the need, not your idea, not your passion, not your genius plan. You start with the pain someone else is feeling. Fastlane entrepreneurs are not daydreamers. They are pain solvers. They don't ask, what can I sell? They ask, what hurts people every day that I can fix? Once you understand the need, you create the solution, not for you, but for them. This is where most people go wrong. They fall in love with the idea, not the result. But the customer only cares about one thing. Can you make my life easier, better, faster, safer, cheaper, or happier? The next step? Build the solution in a way that obeys the Fastlane commandments. You must own the process. If your entire business relies on someone else's platform or decision, you're not free. You're rented. You must raise the barrier of entry. Don't do what everyone else is doing. Find a way to be harder to copy, harder to reach. That's how you become irreplaceable. You must protect your time. Build something that works without your daily presence. This means automation, systems, digital products, licensing, or platforms that deliver value even when you're asleep. You should be able to leave your business for a week and it should still earn. Then you must scale. Don't build for 10 customers, build for 10,000. Use the internet, use content, use automation, use distribution. Don't think local, think global. Your value must not be limited by borders or time zones. And most importantly, create something that outlives you. Because that's what the Fastlane truly is. A vehicle that keeps moving even when you step out. A machine of value, a system of service, a source of freedom. Here's the emotional truth behind this journey. When you build a business in the Fastlane, you're not just changing your income, you're changing your identity. You stop being a worker. You stop being someone who's always behind on bills and behind on dreams. You become a creator, a leader, a freedom architect. But none of this happens by accident. You must observe the world like a detective. Listen to complaints. Watch what frustrates people. Look for what's broken and imagine how it could be fixed. That's your entry point. That's your spark. And remember, you don't need to start big. Every great Fastlane business began small, simple, and raw. The key is to start with action, not just intention. Build your first version. Get feedback. Make it better. Test, refine, repeat. You will feel fear. You will face doubt. You'll be tempted to go back to safe. But every time you feel that fear, remind yourself, you're not building a paycheck. You're building a life. A business in the Fastlane doesn't just set you free. It changes the people you serve. It brings meaning to your work. And it proves something powerful to yourself, that you were never meant to be average. You were meant to be free. And the final key to building such a business, letting your product do the talking. Letting your creation become your greatest salesman. Letting value, not marketing, be the reason people can't stop buying. That's the next destination on our journey. Productocracy. Let the product sell itself. Get ready to learn how the best Fastlane businesses don't beg for attention. They command it. Productocracy. Let the product sell itself. Let me paint a picture for you. Imagine waking up in the morning to dozens, maybe hundreds of new notifications. Not likes, not comments, but orders, sales, payments received, customers sharing your product online, people raving about what you created, tagging their friends, saying, you have to try this. You didn't run an ad. You didn't beg anyone. You didn't chase. You simply built something so powerful, so useful, so beautifully aligned with real need that it began to sell itself. This, my friend, is called productocracy. It's the moment when your product, service, or creation becomes its own marketing machine, where you stop being a salesman and start being a magnet, where people don't need to be convinced because the value is so clear, so real, and so rare that they chase you. Most businesses fail not because of lack of talent, not even because of bad marketing, but because what they offer is forgettable. It doesn't solve a real problem. It doesn't leave an emotional mark. It's just noise in a noisy world. But productocracy changes everything. It's built on a single truth. When your product is extraordinary, marketing becomes unnecessary. Think about it. When someone experiences a solution that genuinely changes their life, what's the first thing they do? They talk about it. They tell their friends, share it on social media, write reviews, make videos. You don't need to beg them. You just needed to solve their problem better than anyone else ever has. And that's the mission of every Fastlane entrepreneur. Not just to sell a product, but to create something that's worth talking about. Productocracy isn't about being perfect. It's about being transformative. It means crafting your offering in a way that people can't help but promote it for you. It means focusing obsessively on experience, simplicity, speed, quality, and results. Apple didn't become Apple because of genius marketing. It became Apple because its products felt different. They worked better. They solved real frustrations that other brands ignored. Think about Airbnb. They didn't start with Super Bowl ads. They started by solving a need: affordable, home-like stays for travelers. And the experience was so different. People talked, and talked, and talked. That's productocracy. Now let's break the emotional side of this. When you build a business around this principle, you shift from being a chaser to a creator. You stop pouring money into marketing just to survive and start pouring soul into your creation to thrive. You stop asking, how do I get more customers? And start asking, how can I blow people's minds with this? And when you approach your product this way, whether it's a course, an app, a coaching program, a physical item, or a service, people feel it. They don't just see features, they feel intention. They know you built it for them. And here's the most powerful secret. When your product sells itself, it buys you something far greater than just revenue. It buys you trust, it buys you loyalty, it buys you freedom. Because now you don't need to scream louder than the crowd. You don't need to run endless ads or cut your prices to compete. You just exist, and people come to you. That's the beauty of productocracy. But it starts with a decision to care deeply, to stop cutting corners, to stop building okay things and start building transformative things, to obsess over how people feel after using your product, not just what they paid for it. It means getting feedback, refining, testing, tweaking. It means creating something so good, your customers become your sales team. And you become the architect of effortless growth. The product becomes the message. The experience becomes the billboard. The result becomes the promotion. And now, while others scramble for clicks and compete for scraps, your business becomes unshakable. Because it's not fueled by ads. It's fueled by impact. That's productocracy. That's how you build something people can't ignore. And when you do that, your business enters a new phase. Momentum without force. But to truly appreciate why this matters, we must contrast it with the old system. The one that most people are still trapped in. The one that says, work more hours, trade more time, get a bigger paycheck, repeat. It's time to expose the painful truth behind that system. Let's talk about why jobs and time for money fail, and why the fast lane is the only path that leads to lasting freedom. Why jobs and time for money fail, the silent trap of the modern world. Let's start with a feeling you know too well. It's Monday morning. Your alarm screams at 7 a.m. You drag yourself out of bed, rush through your morning routine, and squeeze into traffic or sit on yet another Zoom call. The day begins. You grind, you push, you show up again and again. Then Friday comes, and all you want is a break. And when that paycheck finally hits your account, it already feels spent. Rent, bills, groceries. Maybe a little left for something nice. Then the cycle starts again. You've done everything right, just like they told you. Go to school, get a degree, find a job, work hard, be loyal, climb the ladder. But deep down, you're asking the question that keeps millions awake at night. Is this it? That's the silent trap we're diving into. Why jobs and trading time for money ultimately fail. You see, a job, no matter how well paying, comes with a hidden cost. And that cost is your life, sold 1 hour at a time. Every job follows a cruel equation. No work, no pay. You get paid for showing up, not for creating value that lasts. You're paid for your time, not for your impact. Which means, the moment you stop showing up, the income stops too. This model is broken. Not because jobs are bad, but because they were never designed to set you free. They were designed to keep you comfortable, not wealthy, secure, not sovereign. Think about it. You have 24 hours in a day. You sleep for 7 or 8. You work for 9 or 10. Commute, cook, clean, repeat. How much time do you really own? How much of your day is yours? And what happens when your energy runs out? When your health fades? When your employer decides they no longer need you? Everything collapses. Because the entire structure of your life depends on one fragile trade: time for money. Now, let's say you love your job. That's beautiful. But here's the truth. Even if you love it, if you stop doing it, the income stops too. You're still renting your time, even if the landlord is nice. This model caps your income, caps your impact, caps your potential. Because time is limited, and when income is tied to time, so is your freedom. This is where Fastlane thinking becomes revolutionary. MJ DeMarco teaches us to reject this system, not out of rebellion, but out of awakening. You're not meant to sell your life in chunks. You're meant to own your life in full. You're not meant to earn a living. You're meant to design a life. Let's talk about the emotional weight of this. So many people die with regrets. Not because they didn't earn enough, but because they spent decades chasing survival instead of living their truth. They missed their children grow up. They buried their dreams. They lived weekends to weekends, holidays to holidays, believing that someday it would get better. But someday never came. Because time for money will always steal your most valuable asset, your time. It's a quiet thief, dressed in the costume of security. And let's talk numbers. Even if you make $50,000 a month, 1 lakh a month, even 5 lakh a month, if it requires all your time, it's still a trap. Because true wealth isn't about money. It's about freedom. Freedom to wake up when you want, to work on what excites you, to travel, to serve, to create. To live a life where money flows, not because you're working harder, but because you've built something bigger than yourself. The old system won't teach you this. School won't. Your boss won't. Because the world is built on keeping people inside the system. But you're not here to stay stuck. You're here because a part of you knows there's something more. And that more doesn't come from working harder. It comes from building smarter. The moment you stop exchanging hours for income and start exchanging value for income, your entire world begins to shift. You step off the hamster wheel. You stop chasing weekends. You start building assets. You start earning from things you created once, but serve people forever. You gain the power to walk away from any room that demands too much of your time because you've built something that works even when you don't. So ask yourself, what am I building right now? Is it giving me money at the cost of my time? Or is it giving me both? Because if it's not doing both, it's not the fast lane. And this leads us directly into one of the most beautiful truths of modern entrepreneurship: the ability to multiply yourself, your income, your time, your impact, without burning out. It's time to unlock your next breakthrough: the power of leverage and automation. Because freedom doesn't just come from hard work, it comes from building something that works harder than you do. The power of leverage and automation: work once, win forever. Imagine this: you're sitting in a quiet cafe by the beach. The waves are rolling in. A soft breeze brushes your face. You check your phone, not to scroll endlessly, but to see the notifications lighting up your screen. Sales, orders, reviews, subscriptions, payments. Money is coming in. People are being helped. Lives are being impacted. And yet, you didn't have to lift a finger today. Sounds like a dream, right? It's not. It's the power of leverage and automation, the most liberating force in the fast lane journey. Let's get one thing straight. You can never buy more time. You can never clone yourself. You have only 24 hours in a day. So how do some people create massive success while others stay stuck grinding? They use leverage. They use automation. They build machines that move even when they don't. You see, traditional thinking says, if I want more income, I need to work more hours. But fast lane thinking flips it. If I want more income, I need to remove myself from the equation. Leverage is about multiplying effort. It's the ability to get massive results from minimal personal input. It's about building systems, teams, tools, and technologies that do the work, so you can focus on the vision. Let's break it down. When you write a book, record a course, build an app, create a YouTube channel, or design an online store, you do the work once, but it delivers value forever. That's leverage, the one-to-many model, the key that unlocks the door to exponential income. Now pair that with automation, your silent workforce. Automation is when your business keeps running, marketing, selling, delivering, responding, nurturing, even while you sleep. Your email responder welcomes new customers. Your CRM follows up with leads. Your e-commerce site processes orders. Your calendar books appointments. Your software updates itself. You're not just a business owner anymore. You're the architect of a living, breathing ecosystem. This doesn't mean you disappear from your business. It means you stop being a worker in it and become the designer of it. Let's go deeper emotionally. Why do we want freedom so badly? It's not just about avoiding work. It's about spending your limited time on Earth doing what truly matters. With leverage and automation, you buy back your life. Time to love your family. Time to travel. Time to heal. Time to create. Time to live. Because no matter how much money you earn, if you're chained to your desk, you're still not free. That's what the Fastlane understands. Wealth is not just about income. It's about how that income is earned. If you have to trade your soul for success, it's not success. But if you build with systems, leverage, and automation, success becomes your companion, not your master. This is how you scale. You can serve 1,000 people, not by doing 1,000 tasks, but by building one system that handles it all. And the tools, they're everywhere. Email funnels, chatbots, dropshipping, content scheduling, no-code software, AI-driven workflows, marketing automations, subscription platforms. The internet has leveled the playing field. You don't need a massive team. You don't need $1 million budget. You just need intention and the courage to build. And here's the most important part. Leverage allows you to live in your zone of genius. Instead of spending all day on repetitive tasks, you focus on vision, creativity, strategy, relationships. The things that only you can do. You let the systems carry the weight while you carry the dream. This isn't a shortcut. It's not about laziness. It's about efficiency. It's about multiplication. It's about playing the game in a way where one move creates hundreds of results. But don't be fooled, this takes work up front. Setting up systems, testing them, failing, learning, refining. It's not passive. It's active creation of a future where your life is not owned by your business. And one day, that course you built a year ago, still selling. That product you created months back, still shipping. That video you uploaded, still getting views. That system you designed, still converting leads. You step into a life where your past efforts still pay you in the present. That's what leverage and automation truly are. Your time machines. They take what you built yesterday and make it work today, tomorrow, and 10 years from now. But here's the catch. Most people chase passive income without understanding what it really is. That's why in the next chapter, we'll uncover the real truth behind it. Passive income is a result, not a strategy. Because freedom isn't found in fantasies, it's found in what you build. Passive income is a result, not a strategy. Earn while you sleep, but only if you deserve it. Let's begin with a vision that has hypnotized millions. A man lying on a beach with a laptop. A woman sipping coffee while money magically lands in her bank account. The term passive income floating around like a golden ticket, offering hope, luxury, and freedom. Instagram posts, YouTube thumbnails, motivational podcasts. Everyone is screaming the same thing. Build passive income and escape the rat race. But here's the truth that no one tells you. Passive income is not a strategy. It's a result. It's not something you can start with. It's not something you can buy from a guru's course. It's something you earn after intense effort, smart systems, and deep service to the world. You see, the phrase passive income has become a trap. People chase it like a lottery ticket, expecting that with the right hack, side hustle, or crypto play, they'll wake up rich. But they miss what matters most. Before passive income comes sweat equity. Before freedom comes grind. Before the money flows without your presence, it must flow because of your creation. That's the Fastlane truth MJ DeMarco drives home. The reason Fastlaners earn while they sleep is because they built something while they were awake. Something valuable, scalable, and needed. They didn't chase shortcuts. They chased solutions. They didn't seek escape. They sought impact. And because they solved a real problem in a smart, automated, and scalable way, passive income became the reward. Let's make this emotional. Imagine a young mother, exhausted, working a job from 9 to 6, coming home only to spend 2 tired hours with her kids. She wants passive income not because she's lazy, but because she wants to be present. She wants her time back. But she buys into the wrong idea that she can shortcut the climb, that she can click a few buttons, follow a script, and the money will magically arrive. It doesn't. Because you don't build a life of freedom through shortcuts, you build it through service. Passive income is not about doing nothing. It's about building something that does the work for you, after you've done the work to create it. A YouTube channel with years of valuable videos, a software tool that helps thousands daily, a blog with 200 timeless posts that rank in search engines, a digital product that solves a niche pain and keeps selling. All of those were built with intention. They took time, they took failure, they took iteration. But once they were built, they lasted. They didn't require daily presence. They didn't demand constant effort. They created a stream of value that earned in the background. That's the secret. Passive income is just active value multiplied by time. And here's why that truth is so freeing. You're no longer chasing fantasies. You're grounded in a mission. You're not hoping to get lucky. You're committed to getting better. You stop asking, how do I earn passively? And you start asking, what can I create today that will continue helping people tomorrow? The moment you shift that mindset, you stop being a dreamer. You become a builder. Because guess what? That podcast you record today may not make money this week, but next year, it might change someone's life. That course you design tonight might not go viral tomorrow, but in 3 months, it could become your #1 source of income. That ebook you write may only sell 1 copy now, but in 5 years, it could still be paying you rent. Passive income isn't an idea. It's not a hustle. It's not a fantasy. It's the reward for having created something so valuable, so accessible, and so evergreen, that it keeps giving even after you've moved on. And here's what that gives you emotionally. Peace. You're no longer trading your soul for survival. You're no longer tied to a clock. You're no longer fearing every Monday morning. You've earned the freedom to choose your life. But none of that comes by accident. It comes from commitment, from building a fastlane business that obeys the commandments: control, entry, need, time, scale. When you apply them, when you commit to the creation, not just the dream, passive income becomes inevitable, and that's where we're going next. Now that you've learned the mindset, the model, and the mechanics, it's time to turn all of this into movement. Get ready for the most important chapter of all, Millionaire Fastlane Action Steps. Your blueprint to go from learning to living the Fastlane. Millionaire Fastlane Action Steps. From dreaming to doing, from wishing to winning. Let's stop for a moment and breathe. You've come so far. You've learned about the Fastlane mindset. You've unlearned the lies of the slow lane. You've felt the emotional truth behind living paycheck to paycheck. You've discovered the power of scale, automation, leverage, and purpose. You're not the same person who began this journey. But now comes the most important part. Because knowledge without action is just entertainment, and dreams without direction are just illusions. So let's talk about how to actually live the Millionaire Fastlane. Not someday, not when you're ready, but starting today. Here's your first and most important action. Decide. That may sound simple, but it's the most powerful move of your life. You must decide to leave the sidewalk. Decide to reject the slow lane. Decide that you will no longer trade your time for crumbs while your real potential rusts away in a cage of comfort. This decision isn't made with your mouth. It's made with your actions. So what do those actions look like? First, start observing the world like a problem solver. Every frustration, every complaint, every inefficiency you see, those are business opportunities. The world doesn't need more products, it needs more solutions. So listen, watch, take notes, pay attention. The next great business idea won't come from your head, it'll come from someone else's pain. Next, clarify your strengths and passions, but don't be blinded by them. Yes, it helps if you love what you do, but more importantly, you must serve. Start asking, what can I build that makes life easier, faster, better, or cheaper for someone else? Then, test your idea fast. Don't wait for perfect. Don't waste 6 months building in silence. Create a prototype, a landing page, a beta version, an MVP. Launch small, learn quickly. Feedback is fuel. Speed is your ally. As you grow, design your business with the Fastlane commandments in mind. Control. You own it. You run it. You decide. Entry. Make it hard to copy. Don't be one of a million. Be the one. Need. Solve a real pain. Don't chase trends. Time. Build systems that don't depend on you. Scale. Reach thousands, even millions with one product or process. Start asking, can this run without me? Can it scale? Does it solve a real need? Am I in control? And if the answer is no, don't stop. Just evolve. Build smarter. Leverage technology. Automate your processes. Use tools that multiply your reach. Build once, earn forever. The internet is not just for scrolling, it's your machine. Use it. Don't wait for permission. You don't need a degree to start. You don't need funding to create. You don't need approval to act. You just need to move. Along the way, there will be fear, doubt, confusion. But don't mistake discomfort for danger. Every successful Fastlaner felt what you're feeling right now, and they acted anyway. They stumbled, fell, got up, adjusted, and kept going. They weren't superheroes. They were just committed. Now let's talk about time. Stop saying you don't have time. You do. You're just spending it wrong. Audit your hours. Replace entertainment with education. Replace scrolling with building. Replace complaining with creating. Your evenings, weekends, mornings, they're all bricks. And you can either use them to build your cage or build your castle. And here's a truth that might sting, but it will set you free. No one is coming to save you. Not your boss, not your parents, not your government, not a lottery ticket. It's you. But that's the best news of all, because it means you have the power. Now visualize this. 6 months from now, you've built your first system. It's live. It's helping people. You're earning. You're 1 year from now. You've automated part of it. You're scaling. 2 years, you've quit your job. 5 years, you're free. Fully, your income flows, your time is yours, your impact is global. That's not fantasy, that's Fastlane, but none of it happens if you stay still. You have to build, you have to risk, you have to act. So write your plan. Start simple, start scrappy, start small. But for heaven's sake, start. Because the cost of staying in the slow lane is your entire life. And you only get one. Now that you've got the action plan, the road ahead is lit. The vehicle is ready. The fuel is burning. You are no longer asleep. You are awake. And the road to freedom is open. But before you take the wheel fully, there's one last thing we must explore together. The life lessons and final takeaways, the truths you carry with you long after the journey begins. Let's finish this race the way it was meant to be, with purpose, power, and perspective. Life lessons and final takeaways. The journey to freedom begins with you. Close your eyes for just a second and imagine it. You're no longer waking up in a rush, checking the clock, calculating how much longer you have to work to pay bills. You're no longer dreading Mondays or praying for weekends. You're no longer surviving. You're living. You own your time. You choose your path. You wake up every day with energy, peace, and purpose. That's what the fast lane is about. Not just making millions, but reclaiming your life. And as we reach the end of this journey together, it's time to pause, reflect, and absorb the deeper truths MJ DeMarco laid out. Not just in theory, but as life-altering lessons. The first lesson is this: wealth is not money, it's freedom. Freedom to live life on your terms. Freedom to spend time with the people you love. Freedom to create, explore, serve, and express who you really are, without a clock deciding your worth. Money is just a tool. A powerful one, yes, but a tool nonetheless. What you build and how you use it defines your destiny. Second, your life doesn't change by waiting, it changes by building. No boss, no government, no miracle will rescue you. You are your own rescue mission. The day you decide to stop watching and start creating is the day your fast lane begins. Third, comfort is the enemy of growth. That cozy job, that predictable income, that safe lifestyle, they all feel good, until you realize they come at the cost of your dreams. The slow lane sells comfort, the fast lane demands courage. But guess what? Courage gives you everything comfort never could. Fourth, failure isn't fatal. Stagnation is. You will mess up, you will lose money, you will feel lost at times, but as long as you're moving, you're winning. Because each stumble brings clarity. Each mistake brings direction. Each setback is a setup for your next breakthrough. Fifth, impact creates income. Don't chase money, chase value. Help enough people, solve real problems, and make lives better, and the world will reward you. Every rupee you earn is a certificate of service. Want to earn more? serve more. Sixth, you don't need permission. You don't need to wait until you're older, richer, smarter, more experienced. You just need to start. Start messy. Start scared. Start small. But start. Because every successful entrepreneur, every fastlaner you admire, once stood where you're standing now, with no clue, no map, just a dream, and the decision to chase it anyway. And finally, the most powerful asset you have isn't your money, your product, or your skills, it's your mindset. Everything starts and ends with how you think. If you believe the world is limited, that success is only for the lucky, that money is evil, or that you're not good enough, then you'll live inside that cage forever. But if you believe you can grow, build, serve, create, and lead, then nothing can stop you. The world becomes your playground, and the fast lane becomes your path. So take this moment now and burn this truth into your heart. Your life is yours. Not your boss's, not your past's, not society's, not your fears. Yours. And you are more powerful than you've ever been told. You can create a business that changes lives. You can automate income that sets you free. You can walk away from the trap. You can live a life where you don't just make a living, you make a difference. This isn't just a book summary. This is your wake-up call. This is your permission slip. This is your turning point. The sidewalk is crowded. The slow lane is slow death. But the fast lane, it's waiting for you. The road is open. The engine is running. The keys are in your hand. Now, it's time to drive. And before we close this chapter, there's one small, powerful action you can take to keep your mind fueled, your journey inspired, and your growth unstoppable. If this journey inspired you, if it sparked a fire inside you, if it gave you clarity, courage, or even just one new perspective that could change your life, then don't let it stop here. Hit that like button if you felt connected to the Fastlane message. It tells us that these powerful stories matter to you and helps us reach more dreamers like you. Subscribe to the channel because this is just the beginning. We're building a library of life-changing book summaries packed with wisdom, emotion, and action. Every week, we break down powerful ideas that fuel your mind, your mission, and your future. Turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new video that could shift the way you think forever. And finally, share this video with someone you care about, someone who's stuck in the slow lane, someone who deserves to hear this. One share can be the spark that changes a life. If you're ready to rise, to build, to lead, and to live life on your own terms, then this is your space, your tribe, your movement. Follow us for more powerful, emotional, and transformational book summaries that guide you step by step toward the life you truly deserve. Let's grow together, let's build together, and let's drive the fast lane, one chapter at a time. Subscribe now. Your freedom journey starts here.